Good afternoon. After a long and very high-profile legal journey, we are getting a verdict today in the case of 5 former players of Team Canada's World Junior Hockey Team charged with a sexual assault in connection with an incident that occurred in 2018.
The presiding judge in the case has been reading her decision for some time this morning, going through the legal framework required to come to that verdict. CTV's Adrian Gabriel is live in London today outside the courthouse there with the very latest. Adrian, what have we heard from the judge so far this morning?
Well, Nathan, I can tell you right now, in this very moment, they're in a recess. The Justice Maria Caracia is saying that she's about halfway through delivering her verdict. Now, she hasn't delivered the verdicts. She's began her day by going through the evidence that was brought before the courts. A couple highlights to point out from this morning. She said that not just the complainant, but also the defendants and some of the witnesses, that they had some of their investigations and some of their testimony contradicted what they had said at different times throughout this trial, throughout this investigation, which spans years. We also heard Justice Maria Caracia, say that she has not found EM, that is the alleged victim in this case, to be either credible or reliable. We also know that there were cell phone videos taken inside that hotel room back in June 2018. A big part of this case revolves around one word. That word is consent. In those videos, the EM, the alleged victim, is asked if she's okay with what is happening. She says, yes, I'm okay. In one video, she says, please stop recording, I'm so sober. Justice Maria Caracia today saying that while watching those videos, that the alleged victim appeared sober, she wasn't slurring her words, and she appeared fine. Now, as the recess took place just moments ago here at the courthouse in London, Ontario, family members for the defendants stood up and began hugging some of the players. Now, it's important to note, though, still at this hour, Nathan, we have not received the verdicts.
So when the judge was speaking inside the courtroom, and it seems like we can tell which way she's going, was there any reaction inside the courtroom?
Absolutely, there was. I'm out here. I have what's happening in the courtroom via a Zoom link. We have colleagues with CTV News inside the courtroom in the overflow room. I can confirm that when she had mentioned that she did not find the alleged victim in this case to be credible or reliable, that there were gasps inside the courtroom. There were tears of joy shed by some of the family members, though again, we are still awaiting the verdicts. 5 members from that 2018 gold medal winning junior hockey team, Canadian junior hockey team, have been charged with sexual assault. Michael McLeod is also facing an additional charge of being party to the offense, and we still await the decision this hour.
All right, CTV's Adrian Gabriel outside that London courthouse. Thank you. We'll check in later.
Thank you.
Well, if you haven't stepped outside yet today, prepare yourself. It is a hot one.
A heat warning's been issued across the GTA with temperatures in the mid-30s, but expected to feel more like the mid-40s. CTV's Allison Hurst is live outside taking in some of the heat. Allison, I know it's hot out there. Are you finding a way to keep cool?
Nathan, there's a nice breeze right now that is certainly keeping us cool, but yes, it is very hot. The heat coming up off the sand. Lots of people, though, are coming to the beach looking for both ways to enjoy the sunshine and this summery weather, but also stay cool. So yes, the city of Toronto is under a heat warning, with Environment Canada forecasting the humid index will make things feel like it's in the mid-40s. While many are flocking to the beach, those looking to stay active are either doing so on the water, like in the sailboats we've seen on the lake, and others are playing volleyball have told us they are taking precautions while being outside. Officials recommend finding shady places if you're outside and drinking lots of water. Also, to find an air-conditioned spot, city libraries are good places to go if you need a break from the heat. Environment Canada also recommends closing your blinds or shades and using a fan if you don't have air conditioning in your home.
The hot weather, it just hits nice.
It's a great day to be outside. Weather's amazing, sunny. Literally the day to be out here and playing some volleyball.
It's like good to have warm weather, but sometimes it gets like too hot. But it's like good that they have water filling stations here for like kids who are at the beach.
During tournaments, people are allowed to like forfeit, and people, like when we're like switch sides, people are allowed to drink water and have extra timeouts. So we have that, but it's still like super hot, like everything is like burning, like my lips are burning off.
And this heat warning is expected to remain in effect until tomorrow. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Natalie, back to you.
Thanks, Allison. And here's another live look at the city as that heat settles in. 31 degrees right now, feeling like 42. Lindsay Morrison is here with a closer look at the current conditions. Lindsay, it's not just the heat, as they say, it's the humidity.
Big time today, Natalie. It's going to feel into the mid-40s, as Allison was mentioning. And this particular heat event, you know, we've had a couple of them already this summer. This is really just a two-day event, so this is mainly for today and tomorrow. That's not to say that it's not going to be hot over the weekend, because it is, and in through the early part of next week. But the humidity, a big factor today and tomorrow. It's going to be very muggy around the Golden Horseshoe. Where you will find some people at the beach today, it feels like 33 this hour along the lakeshore of Lake Ontario, 25 degrees at the Toronto Islands this hour. But if you move a little further inland, it is 29 degrees at Pearson, already feeling like 38. There's a real soupiness in the air out there. It's already feeling close to 40 in places like Muskoka and Niagara Falls as well. Now, today we're tapping into a southwest wind, the wind changing direction compared to the last couple of days. And we are going to be keeping an eye on the sky and on our satellite and radar for today. You can see a couple of little cells starting to initiate across southwest Ontario. For us in the GTA, risk of thunderstorms as we make our way into the evening hours. Daytime, though, mainly sunny, forecast high 34 degrees, but feeling like 43. So how long will this last? We're going to take you through the 7-day forecast coming up. But for now, Nathan, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. To Toronto City Hall now, where councillors are being asked to approve zoning amendments that would advance the development of 6 new shelters.
The shelters themselves are not up for debate, but councillors are questioning the controversial process that is allowing them to proceed. CTV Sean Leathong is live inside the chamber this noon hour with the latest. Sean.
Well, Natalie and Nathan, many speakers rising to talk for or against this zoning requirement change, and Mayor Olivia Chow speaking first, talking about how we have a housing crisis in the cities, talking about how there are many encampments, people living in tents, and there are 85,000 people who are waiting for supportive housing, and that they have a strong need for these 6 shelters, and that they need to be built as soon as possible. Now, where you have the opposition is many councillors saying that the process itself has been flawed and that people were not properly consulted. Now, we spoke to a number of councillors who were against this a little while ago. Here's what they had to say.
The one that's being proposed on Gerrard Street in my ward in Scarborough Southwest is in the middle of a low-rise, detached, single-family neighborhood with a daycare 100 meters away, not the right place. So I think when we approach the idea, the conversation of the much-needed shelters, and I think it's very important in this debate, we understand everyone supports shelters and the need for shelters. We see it in our streets. The reality is placing them requires a criteria that is clear and makes sense, and this is what's lacking. And
well, there should be a pause on this. There should be a pause to do the work with the community to address their concerns. You know, I have delivered 3 shelters and supportive housing sites in my community, and it was really hard, and it was a lot of work, and that work took some time. But at the end of the day, we were able to get the majority of the community on board.
The residents have a valid concern in that there wasn't a consultation, as that power has been delegated to staff in terms of site selection. And when they read the reports talked a lot about zoning and the fact that these shelters were going in, and they came to the committee and they were told they couldn't talk about the shelters because it was strictly about zoning issues. So in terms of the lack of consultation, I think it's fair.
Now, debate had been going on for most of the morning, and speakers still are going on, looks like well into the lunch hour. So we expect that this will take up much of the day. Just a little while ago, Councillor Diane Sachs talked about how there is no perfect process for building homeless shelters, and that people will find a problem with it no matter what. While councillors are pointing out that many wards have several shelters, and this will be just one more that they fear could be an issue. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan and Natalie, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Celebrated filmmaker Guillermo del Toro has been a long, outspoken fan of Toronto, and today he received the city's highest honor. Mayor Chow presented him with a key to the city at an event this morning, recognizing his impact in our city's film industry. Del Toro, who lives in Toronto part of the year, has shot several of his biggest movies here, including Oscar winner The Shape of Water. He often posts online about his favorite spots in the city. Now, Del Toro talked about his history in Toronto at today's ceremony.
I came here 30 years ago mainly to meet David Cronenberg and Carol Spear. And because I think that everybody that presents Toronto in a beautiful way becomes an ambassador to it. Every citizen becomes an ambassador. And David is one of the greatest ambassadors. And then I made the most difficult shoot I've ever had, Mimic. So one would wonder, well, he should have run away. But the crew was amazing. Everybody was amazing. We got really drunk on Fridays on the camera truck. And I like that on Fridays.
Mayor Olivia Chow talked about the importance of Del Toro's contribution to the city's film industry.
Guillermo's productions have employed hundreds and hundreds of Torontonians in the film industry, technical crew, background performers, actors from every cultural background. And since 2017 and even before, Guillermo has helped put Toronto on the global cinematic map. And today we recognize that impact and thank him for choosing our place as a city, a place to dream, the restaurant that you can eat at, the shop that you can shop at. I followed you so that I can find out even more about our city.
As part of today's ceremony, Toronto Cinespace Studios renamed its Marine Terminal campus Guillermo del Toro Stages.
Peel police say they've made a third arrest in connection with the recent homicide in Mississauga. Back on May 14th, investigators say 51-year-old Harjeet Data of Brampton was shot several times in a parking lot near Tranmere Drive and Telford Way. He didn't survive. And a few weeks later, investigators arrested 21-year-old Aman and 21-year-old Digvijay, both 21-year-old men from Delta, BC. Today, they confirmed the arrest of 22-year-old Shahil in Surrey, BC. The three men face charges of first-degree murder here in Ontario as the investigation continues.
Police have identified the victim in Toronto's 23rd homicide of 2025. 30-year-old Akiba Fraser of Toronto was gunned down around 5 a.m. yesterday near Osler Street and Davenport Road. Police say the shooting appears to be targeted. They also called it brazen, noting it happened close to 11 Division Police Station. Detectives haven't shared information on a suspect or suspects, but they are urging anyone with information to contact them or Crime Stoppers.
3 people were taken to hospital following a fire in North York last night. Flames broke out in an apartment near Keele and Lawrence just before 7:45 p.m. Police say a woman was taken to hospital with serious injuries, while 2 men suffered non-life-threatening injuries. So far, there's been no word on what caused the fire. Meanwhile, 1 person was hurt in a brawl at Wet n Wild Toronto, a water park located in Brampton. Peel police say they were called to the park just before 6:30 last night for reports of a group of people fighting near the entrance. By the time police arrived, the fight had dispersed. 1 person was found with an injury. They were assessed by paramedics at the scene. Police say they're searching for 1 suspect in connection with the fight.
Ontario NDP leader Marit Stiles is spending much of the summer on the road for what she calls her All In for Ontario tour. Stiles spoke this morning about what she says she is hearing from residents who have been hit hard by the trade war with the U.S. and other challenges.
The point is to actually bring politics to the people, get out there and actually listen to where people are at. I think if you listen to the Premier, most of the time you'd think everything was A-OK in the province of Ontario, and it certainly is not. Whether it's the job losses, permanent job losses that we're already seeing as a result of the tariffs, or the hospital closures in communities like Thessalon in Northern Ontario or right here in Southern Ontario. There are some really big issues that people are grappling with. And for most people, it's about, just getting through the day. Things are pretty tough out there, and I'm looking as well for solutions because I think the solutions are out there in Ontario among the people of Ontario.
The Premier has repeatedly said he views U.S. tariffs and trade tensions as a major threat to Ontario's economy. He weighed in on the issue at this week's First Ministers meeting in Huntsville.
I don't trust President Trump as far as I can throw him. He constantly changes his mind. It's you just don't know who you're dealing with. He signed that deal with Japan at what was it, $550 billion they're investing. Last time I checked, Japan they buy about $79 billion of products off the U.S. We buy about $349 billion of products. So Japan and the rest of the countries around the world have quite a bit to catch up to what we purchase off the U.S.
A major focus of the First Ministers meeting was finding ways to boost trade within Canada.
In BC, the company that owns the mine where 3 workers are trapped says they're behind 30 meters of debris, but the workers are sheltering in a refuge chamber and have access to others if needed.
There's water, there's food, and there's compressed air feeding that refuge station. So with that, it's all the basics you need to sustain life.
A remote-controlled scoop has begun the work of removing the debris to gain access to the workers. Teams are also restoring a specialized communication system to try to reestablish contact with them. They've been trapped at the Red Chris mine in northern British Columbia since yesterday after 2 rock falls. But the workers were not believed to have been injured. 2 of them are from BC, the other is from Ontario.
Firefighters have been forced to flee the northern Manitoba town of Leaf Rapids as a raging wildfire enters the town. The town says the wildfire jumped the Churchill River and all firefighters and personnel were forced to evacuate. Crews may not be able to return for some time. Thick smoke in the area might limit the town's ability to provide updates. Residents were evacuated to Winnipeg earlier this month.
The Prime Minister is meeting today with Inuit leaders to talk about his government's controversial major projects legislation.
At the core is this opportunity to build major projects, nation-building projects across Inuit Nunavut, across the Northwest Territories, across Canada, in partnership. So that will be the core of our discussions today. But as well, we'll address issues around Arctic security, defense, and education, health, social services for our people.
Mark Carney is in Inuvik to co-host a meeting of the Inuit Crown Partnership Committee. Representatives say they have many questions about Bill C-5 and are hoping the discussion will provide clarity on the role they play in a single Canadian economy. The bill gives Ottawa power to fast-track projects it deems to be in the national interest by sidestepping environmental protections and other legislation.
Canada's premiers say the country has to make a good deal with the U.S. and not rush a trade agreement.
That as an August 1st deadline looms when more tariffs could be imposed on Canadian products. CTV's Jeff Keel reports.
Michelle Leclerc owns Wolseley Kombucha. They brew and bottle fermented tea. She says the trade wars sparked by the U.S. have bumped her costs by 25%.
So any tariff that's added on there, it just comes right out of our pocket.
She says they're eating that increase for now, but can't forever.
Absolutely not. So right now we're okay, but hoping that they come to some sort of trade agreement would be great.
But it's unclear when deals could be reached. The U.S. has imposed tariffs on China and 50% tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel. And on August 1st, 35% U.S. tariffs are set for more Canadian goods. But Canadian leaders, including Premier Wab Kinew, say they can't push an agreement for the sake of a deadline.
I think it's really important for Canada to get a good deal rather than rushing to take any deal, including one that might harm us in the long term.
Many believe 0% is out of reach. Businesses will have to live with some sort of tariff. Trump just made a deal with Japan for 15%.
The evidence suggests that we are looking at a trading relationship going forward that will include tariffs.
All of this is happening as U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra called out Canadians for boycotting travel to the U.S. and American booze.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
Hoekstra is speaking at a Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce event next week, where he will be taking questions.
He's here to deliver America's case to Canada. We are here to press Canada's case to the United States. Sometimes there may be friction points.
And while Michelle Leclerc is still hoping for zero tariffs, she says the renewed Canadian pride that has come out of the trade war with the U.S. has been good for business.
We've seen a 30% increase in sales. So more people are supporting local, more people are drinking less alcohol.
Jeff Keel, CTV News.
Windsor police have made 2 more arrests in a massive whiskey heist. Police released the surveillance video of 2 suspects wanted for stealing $500,000 worth of Crown Royal in May. 1,000 boxes were stolen on May 17th from a secured lot. The truck was driven into the county where cameras picked up the load. A total of 8 people have now been charged in connection with the theft.
Well, another hot day in the city, so many people will be reaching for something to drink to help cool off, but you definitely wouldn't want this ice anywhere near your summer drinks. And that's because it's more than 1 million years old. I was wondering, where is this going? Scientists in Antarctica have spent years drilling deep into ancient ice, and now those frozen time capsules are finally being studied. By cutting and melting the samples, researchers hope to unlock secrets about ancient air, past temperatures, and even volcanic eruptions.
In the UK, a rare snow leopard cub has been born as part of a conservation effort to save the endangered species. The cub is the first of its kind to be born at the Chester Zoo in its 94-year history. Video from the zoo's den cameras showed the 6-week-old and its mother playing and dozing off in the enclosure. The cub's parents were carefully matched together last year as part of an international conservation breeding program. The cub's birth follows the opening of the zoo's Himalayan habitat in May 2024. It boasts a vast, rocky environment intended to recreate the mountainous terrain of Central Asia.
So cute. And if you are looking for ways to perhaps beat the heat and keep cool today, well, I'm happy to share that Toronto's beaches look like they're in better shape today. Here's a look at the conditions. Lots of green flags. So head on out and enjoy the cooler by the lake kind of feeling. Here's your evening at a glance. Now, we should have a little bit of sun for the early part of the evening, but at this point, we are eyeing down potential for thunderstorms as early as even 6, 7 p.m. Here's what it looks like through to tomorrow. The first half of your Friday will be a little unsettled, but then we're going to get into some clearing, and we'll show you what that means for the rest of your weekend forecast on the other side of this break. You're watching CTV News at noon. We'll be right back.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, we've enjoyed a few days of really comfortable, warm summer weather, but things are changing a little bit. Now we're talking humidity.
I was just checking the Environment Canada update. Feels like 42 already out there. Very big difference from even last night.
It's back. You know, even a very big difference from about 2 hours ago, as most people were maybe heading out the door to start their morning routine on a Thursday. If you're just about to head outside again, wow, you will notice a difference compared to those morning hours. And today is the hottest day of the week, so at least there's that. Tomorrow, the core temperature is going to be a little bit cooler, but it will still be feeling like 40 at the height of the day. Weather is brought to you by the Pressler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. This morning, we started off our day down at Port Credit. Nice place to begin the day. And there was a little bit of fair weather, cloudiness, a little bit of haze, but overall, yeah, the air quality isn't too bad today. You might notice certainly a stuffiness compared to earlier this week. It is a good day to spend some time by the water. We've got a southwest wind for today. You may think that that would be refreshing, but here's the thing. That southwest wind is ushering in all this humid air from the United States, from the Gulf, all the way toward us here in the lower Great Lakes. Feels like 43 this hour in Windsor, feels like 42 here in Toronto, and it feels close to 40 if you're joining us from areas like Wyerton or Muskoka. It's a scorcher today right around the Golden Horseshoe. That's where Environment Canada has this heat warning in place. It's a more isolated section of the province this time around for this particular heat event. And as I mentioned, it's really just for 2 days, today and tomorrow. Still going to be quite warm over the weekend, but the humidity won't be quite as oppressive. Height of the day today, it's going to feel like 43. We're pretty much there already. 31 for the high in Niagara Falls, 32 for you in Peterborough, 33 degrees in places like Waterloo and Hamilton. No matter where you are today, it's a hot one. And just to put it all into perspective, our average daytime temperature this time of year is around 27 degrees. That's where we were yesterday. It felt a little bit warmer than that. Of course, earlier this week, we were experiencing highs of around 23, 24 degrees. So it's a big change. 23 will be our overnight low tonight. So that's very warm. Now it is quite uncomfortable for sleeping. If you don't have access to air conditioning, it might not be your favorite kind of overnight. And not only that, but we are going to be talking about the risk of thunderstorms through the evening hours and also into the overnight. Here's your tomorrow at a glance, remaining unsettled into the morning hours. We'll detail this in just a moment, a little closer. But there's our forecast daytime high, 31 degrees. So yeah, a little bit cooler by a couple of degrees compared to today, but still feeling like 40. All right, time to talk about the active weather. We've got a couple of cells that have initiated in southwest Ontario. Still mostly sunny skies around the GTA, but I also want to show you what's coming. So a little bit of active weather now starting to creep its way into Ontario's Nickel Belt region, parts of Cottage Country. That's where we have now severe thunderstorm watches in place. So the areas that you see here in yellow would not be surprised to see those those start to be issued later this afternoon for areas further to the south as this frontal system starts to slump southward. With this, we could see some pretty strong storms around the Bruce Peninsula and then areas east of Georgian Bay. And again, that'll be mid-afternoon to the early part of the evening hours. For us in Toronto, right now it's looking as though any active weather could come around the second half of the dinner hour. So there's about 7 p.m. on this latest model run. Thunder, lightning, damaging winds, all possible with this line of storms. That round will clear out through the overnight. We will hang on to the chance of showers and the risk of thunderstorms. Waking up to some showers. There's 6 a.m. for your Friday. But this active weather is going to clear out. So your Friday afternoon looks quite a bit brighter and drier as well. Heading into the weekend, bit more of an increase in cloud cover and chance of showers, in fact, as we now make our way into the late hours of Saturday and into Sunday too. Your cottage country forecast looks like this. And now here is the 7-day forecast. There's the weekend. So relatively cooler. Daytime high 29 degrees for your Saturday, but we're back up around 30 for Sunday. And look at Monday, Tuesday of next week. Highs of 32 and 31 degrees. So the heat warning may come to an end, but it's still going to feel like July. That's the weather for now. Natalie, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. We have breaking news for fans of professional wrestling. One of the legends of wrestling, Hulk Hogan, has died. According to a report by TMZ, medical personnel were dispatched to Hogan's home in Clearwater, Florida, early this morning. Hogan, whose real name was Terry Bollea, dominated the pro wrestling scene for almost 4 decades. He was the biggest name in a galaxy of stars during the sports golden age of the 1980s and 1990s, and is fondly remembered for his epic battles with superstars including Andre the Giant and King Kong Bundy. Hulkamania extended beyond the ring, with Hogan appearing in Hollywood blockbusters like Rocky III and 3 television series. The wrestler's cause of death was reportedly a cardiac arrest. Hogan was 71. The WWE says it is saddened to learn of Hogan's death. They call him one of pop culture's most recognizable figures.
A Quebec man is warning people about an ordeal he went through at the hands of American authorities. He was fishing on Lake Champlain when the U.S. Coast Guard approached. CTV's Matt Grill tells us what happened next.
I'm never going to be the same. You see, it comes and goes. It's like, stop it.
Edouard Lallemand is still very emotional when he talks about what happened on Sunday evening. Lallemand was out fishing near Venise en Quebec. The water connects to Lake Champlain in the U.S. But Lallemand says he knows for certain he was on the Canadian side.
I'm seeing them. They're coming towards me. And then I know in my heart, I'm in Canada. I said, they can't do nothing to me.
The boat that was approaching, he says, was the U.S. Coast Guard. They asked him to turn off his engine. He complied. They told him he was in U.S. territory.
No, I'm very sorry. I'm in Canada. And I said, you know, I'm polite enough to talk to you guys, but you cannot arrest me. You can't come across the border and pick me up. They did.
Lallemand says he started his engine and tried to make his way further into Canada, but he says the Coast Guard followed and tried pushing him into the U.S. Eventually, his boat capsized. Lallemand was in the water and says he was drowning.
You know what they're doing? They're tying to my boat to their boat. They're not even taking care of me. Not at all. I'm the one that told them. The third time I went down, coming out with water in my mouth, spitting it out, I said, throw me a buoy.
He says he was handcuffed on the U.S. Coast Guard boat and eventually turned over to Border Patrol. He was detained and placed in a holding cell without a proper explanation, he says.
I said, are you arresting me? No, sir, you're detained. I said, detained for what? I said, you aggressed me. I didn't do nothing to you guys. I didn't even hit you guys.
In a statement to CTV News, the U.S. Coast Guard says the operator was informed that he was in U.S. Customs waters. While the Coast Guard's 29-foot response boat was alongside the vessel, the operator put the vessel in motion and ignored commands to maintain course and speed for boarding purposes. The vessel then made an abrupt turn and struck the port bow of the Coast Guard. They go on to say that Lallemand's boat capsized and he ended up in the water, but the Coast Guard promptly recovered him. He was eventually transferred to U.S. Border Patrol custody, and the Coast Guard says the actions of the operator of the Canadian vessel are currently under investigation.
We treat our pets better than they treated him.
After hours in a cell, Lallemand was released.
When I saw him coming from the the Canadian Customs, and he was flabbergasted. I mean, I've never seen him like that. We've been together for a very long time. He's like a beaten man.
He says he was injured, but he just wants an apology from the U.S. Coast Guard, and he's speaking out as a warning to other Canadians.
I want the people to know and to beware. Stay away from the border, even if it's 500, 600 feet away from there.
Matt Grillo, CTV News, Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu.
It has been nearly 20 years since the death of renowned Indigenous artist Norval Morrisseau, and since that time, forged copies of his work became a part of the biggest case of art fraud this country has ever seen.
Now, the Morrisseau estate is turning to technology to help authenticate his paintings. CTV's Geneviève Beauchemin explains.
The painter in this Montreal studio is a robot reproducing a masterpiece by renowned Anishinaabe artist Norval Morrisseau. These aren't machine-created fakes, though, to be passed off as real, but replicas used to root out fraud.
This is called Bear Father, Bear Son.
Chloe Ryan heads acrylic robotics. She's a painter now armed with a degree in mechanical engineering.
I became very frustrated with how long it would take me to make a piece, and then the fact that I could only sell that one time to one person. I was making $2 an hour.
The fear, of course, is that this will empower robots to replace human creativity. But Ryan says this model helps artists use AI as a tool to make their art more accessible. But what also caught the attention of the late Morrisseau's estate was the technology's potential to help in his fight against forgeries. Morrisseau is known as the grandfather of contemporary Indigenous art in Canada.
With all the systemic racism against him, his art always spoke of love and unity, of interconnectivity and interdependency.
His paintings sell in the millions, but thousands of frauds have flooded the market, making it difficult to authenticate and sell his paintings.
Every time that we would release a painting to the market, it would get faked, a fake print would be made, and a fake print of the fake painting would be made.
The estate turned to robotics and AI to produce concrete data to prove which painting is a fraud.
The better our works get, the better their model has to get to detect them.
Acrylic robotics creates increasingly precise copies used to train a program called Norval AI. It was developed 3 years ago to detect fakes. Amazon Web Services software helps log millions of details.
So the AI is able to provide this additional lens and this magnifying glass of information that might not be possible to just a naked human eye.
The hope here is that this is a high-tech step in the age-old fight against art fraud. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Coming up, we'll show you the new technology developed right here at home that's allowing patients who've had hip or knee surgery to be up and walking just minutes after their operation. Stay with us.
The province is weighing in on a report calling for major transformation of Ontario's hospital system. The Ontario Hospital Association published the report this week. It says Ontario spends less per capita than any other province on the hospital funding per year, a bit over $1,900. But it warns that the sector won't be able to continue providing the same level of care and keep up that level of efficiency going forward. The report cites a growing and aging population and says systemic changes and more funding are needed to prepare Ontario's hospitals for the future. CTV News asked the Ministry of Health for comment on the Ontario Hospital Association's report. A spokesperson for Minister Sylvia Jones said this in part, quote, as a result of our historic investments in innovation within our healthcare system, Ontario is proud to lead the country in achieving the shortest wait times for critical surgeries, procedures, and emergency care, the highest number of people and the largest healthcare workforce. We continue to work with our hospital partners, including the OHA, to ensure our hospitals have the tools they need to continue to deliver high-quality care that patients deserve. Premier Ford, meanwhile, raised a concern about healthcare funding at this week's First Ministers' meeting.
The way we've seen the increase in population, we've seen an increase in health needs. We need to continue to hire more doctors and nurses. We need a fair chunk of money. I just want to speak to the people of Ontario on equalization and transfer payments. At the end of the day, goes into one big pot. We're giving $26 billion of Ontario's hard-earned taxpayers money over the federal government. I've always said I have no problem taking care of the smaller provinces and the territories. But in saying that, we need our fair share with healthcare. We spend $93 billion a year in healthcare in Ontario.
Other premiers echoed Doug Ford's concerns about the size of federal health transfers. City Council has approved the appointment of Toronto's next top public health official. Dr. Michelle Mertis is set to take over as Toronto's new medical officer of health in September. At the moment, Dr. Mertis serves as Associate Chief Medical Officer of Health for Ontario. She also held public health leadership roles in BC and the Northwest Territories. Dr. Mertis said she looks forward to working to protect and improve health, reduce health inequities, and, quote, make Toronto a healthy and resilient place where we can all live, work, and play. New technology from a Kitchener company is allowing patients to get up and walk just 30 minutes after hip or knee surgery.
As CTV's Spencer Turcott reports, more hospitals are getting on board.
Our system is extremely robust and quite unique.
It's a groundbreaking innovation created by University of Waterloo alumni.
At IntelliJoint Surgical, we help orthopedic surgeons doing hip and knee replacements.
Armin McCurtsian co-founded the company in 2010, inspired by his father's work as an orthopedic surgeon. He saw gaps in care.
Of course, they're human. It's very difficult to measure degrees, single degrees, or single millimeters by eye, or using their training and their judgments.
So he created IntelliJoint, a sort of computer-assisted navigation system that improves surgical outcomes in hip and knee replacements.
Anywhere in the middle is good.
It uses a miniature optical camera to deliver real-time, precise measurements.
So at this point, then they would save.
It also reduces the need for invasive and costly repeat surgeries.
Patients don't have the wrong length of leg, for example, after surgery, which unfortunately does happen 50% of the time if technology is not used.
IntelliJoint's technology has been used in more than 70,000 surgeries in multiple countries over the last 15 years. But getting approval for use in Canada has taken time.
It's a difficult journey to be accepted by the Ontario healthcare system.
But recently, a big breakthrough.
We're very fortunate that our local hospital, Waterloo Regional, has access to IntelliJoint's technologies.
While access is limited across other health networks, they hope it'll continue to grow in the right direction. And their argument is simple.
If you have access to a ruler or to a level, why wouldn't you use it to put up a shelf? I mean, that's the logic that we use.
Spencer Turcott, CTV News, Kitchener.
The Toronto International Film Festival is out with a schedule for one of its most beloved sections, Midnight Madness. Each night of the festival, film fans will gather at 11:59 p.m. for screenings at the Royal Alexandra Theatre to take in what organizers call the very best and most bizarre in contemporary genre and shock cinema. On the first night, it'll feature the Canadian premiere of Matt Johnson's Toronto-set film Nirvana, the Band, the Show, the Movie. Other featured titles will include Normal by director Ben Wheatley and Dust Bunny by director Brian Fuller. The 50th edition of the Toronto International Film Festival runs September 4th through the 14th. You're watching CTV News at noon. Stay with us.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
The OPP says a 52-year-old Aurelia man is facing charges accused of impaired driving. Sean McInnes, who works as a senior multimedia journalist with CTV News, was arrested last night. Police say they received a call from a member of the public who claimed they saw a driver consuming what they believe to be alcohol while parked outside a local business. That caller then followed the vehicle until officers arrived, and McInnes was arrested. He's charged with operation while impaired and operation while impaired with a blood alcohol concentration of 800 milligrams plus. In a statement, Bell Media, the parent company of CTV News, says, "We can confirm the OPP report that a CTV News staff member has been charged with alcohol-related offenses while operating a corporate vehicle. The staff member has been suspended while we conduct an internal investigation." We have no further comment at this time. One correction is 8 milligrams, not 80.
Loblaw Companies Limited says its second quarter profits were up compared with a year ago. The parent company of Loblaws and Shoppers Drug Mart says customer traffic, basket size, and item count also increased year over year. That led to profits of $2.40 per share, up from $2.15 last year. Same-store sales in food retail were up 3.5% and revenue climbed to $14.7 billion. Similar boosts were seen at drugstores and pharmacies.
Tesla reported a 13% drop in sales for the start of the year. The electric car manufacturer shared the news in its earnings call, with analysts linking the drop in sales to an aging lineup of vehicles and brand damage from CEO Elon Musk's involvement in U.S. politics. Musk said in the call that Tesla could see a few rough quarters, as a tax break for EV buyers is set to come to an end south of the border as well. Tesla shares are down more than 9% so far today. That comes as the company works to launch fleets of self-driving robo-taxis in the U.S. this year. It's a different story for Google's parent company, Alphabet. The tech giant beat Wall Street estimates with its own quarterly report Wednesday. Revenue growth was driven in large part by sales of cloud computing systems. Now, experts also cited the company's new AI offerings and a steady digital advertising market. Alphabet said it plans to hike its capital spending plans to about $85 billion U.S. this year. Its quarterly report forecast the economy dropped 0.8% in the second quarter and could further fall 0.8% in the third quarter. Were that to happen, Canada would be in a technical recession. The report notes most businesses expect long-term supply disruptions thanks to tariffs and delays at the U.S. border. There are more than 397,000 vacant jobs in the private sector. Private investment is expected to have nosedived, down 13% in quarter two, and predicted to drop again by 6.9% in the third quarter.
The federal government is threatening to cut housing funding for Toronto, saying the city is falling short on its promise to ramp up density. The housing minister told Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow he is disappointed by a recent decision that limits where builders can put up to 6 housing units on a lot. Council introduced a plan last month that will see some wards sign on to the sixplex framework, while others can choose to opt in later. The government is urging the city to revisit that decision over the next 5 months or lose money it would have received from the Housing Accelerator Fund. And to sports, the Blue Jays wrapped up their series with the New York Yankees last night.
And lifts a high fly ball to left. This one's got some carry. It's gone!
The Jays took a 4-run lead with a homer in the 7th inning. They were able to hold on to secure an 8-4 win. The Jays are now in Detroit to begin a 4-game series against the Tigers.
Coming up, the Jays are packing plenty of punch at the plate these days, and part of the secret to their success may be the bats they're swinging. Made not too far from here, we'll show you how a local bat maker is getting a crack at the big time.
As the Blue Jays continue racking up wins, they're doing it with some local lumber in their hands.
As CTV's Brett Lail reports, some of the bats being used to drive in runs are made just a 2-hour drive from here.
A mammoth batting practice home run off the facing of the 500 level at Rogers Center.
Hit the light blue standard up there.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. swinging some Canadian-made wood.
Ball's just jumping off his bats. Super exciting. I was 20 years in the making, like me and Paul making bats, and to see a superstar like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. take the swings he was taking, we're very excited.
Windsor area natives and former London Majors players Ryan Laponce and Paul Lamancia are breaking through in the baseball bat industry.
I did dream about it. I don't think you could ever imagine that you'd have superstars like Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper swinging.
Backyard Bats has hired the brother of Blue Jays manager John Schneider as their COO. This week, they took advantage of that connection.
Asked me to reach out to Vlad if he wanted to use some. And, Vlad, I think it doesn't really matter what he's swinging. He's going to swing it well. And like what he felt his first round of big. Good Canadian wood, right? I've seen him do that, quite a few times. But if he can do that pretty regularly with the backyard bat, that'd be a good thing for him and a good thing for us.
Laponce and Lamancia had great careers in the Intercounty Baseball League, with Laponce reaching as high as AAA as a player. They believe their bat is a product of their on-field success.
Me and Paul knowing how to hit, and Paul being that master bat craftsman, I think the players, it resonates with them.
Now the duo are trying to compete with major companies in the industry. It's not easy, but getting it in the players' hands is the first step, than letting their product prove its worth.
I tried as a player to get to the big leagues and to see our bat there. It's just as satisfying, if not more, just how difficult it is for a bat maker to get this opportunity.
Brett Leal, CTV News.
And the Jays are on the road again, heading to Detroit, where it is also very hot.
Yeah, it's hopefully they can stay hot as well. The team, they just seem to just win every night.
Yeah, hot all around. We'll take it. One more look at our temperature for this afternoon. We are well on our way to reaching our forecast daytime high. It is 31 degrees right now. Feels like 42 in the city of Toronto. We are going to keep an eye on the sky this afternoon and especially this evening for the risk of thunderstorms. If we don't get thunderstorms, we do expect passing showers. Still quite warm overnight tonight. Tomorrow's high 31, feeling like 40. There's your weekend forecast, and we'll take one more look at the 7-day. Nathan and Natalie.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. And that is CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching. I'm Natalie Johnson.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon.